What guarantees are you going to give this liberal about how that will reduce the cost of gasoline at the pump if we let you drill where you say you want to drill?
I can guarantee to the American people, because of the inaction of the United States Congress ever increasing prices unless the demand comes down, and the $5 will look like a very low price in the years to come if we are prohibited from finding new reserves, new opportunities to increase supplies.
And guess what this liberal would be all about? This liberal will be all about socializing, would be about basically taking over and the government running all of your companies.
Congresswoman, I had people mention this to me yesterday. When is it that lawmakers are going to start reading the legislation that they actually pass? I mean, this was a problem before even the Iraq War, that people didn't read the national intelligence estimate. And then you have a stimulus package over $800 billion, and you got members of Congress voting on it, and they haven't read it?
Oh,
when
yes.
is that going to end?
Well, the fact of the matter is you don't read everything. I don't read everything. What we do is we read what we consider the most important aspects of the bill. How much money is being spent in this bill? Who's going to benefit from the money that's spent in this bill? Our staffs break it up into different parts. They read it. They feed information to us. There are millions of pages of information that go through this Congress, and nobody really reads it all. Just as you don't read every fine line in every newspaper every day. You read what you think is most important for you to do your job. That's the way the world works.
I do. I must say, though, my mom and dad have always told me anytime you have to sign a mortgage or anything like that, you better read every fine print of it. And boy, I hate that advice sometimes because it takes me forever.
Yes.
But I try and do it because it involves money. And I think
exactly
there's people
what
saying
you said.
that,
You
well, we're telling people who signed all these subprime mortgages out there and all these phony mortgages that they should have read the fine print. And now we say it's okay because Congress doesn't read the fine print either on these big bills?
Well,
what kind of example is that?
I wish all of America read all of the documents that's put before them. I wish more people reading mortgages understood everything that was in the mortgage. I wish that I read every piece of everything, all of the print that's put before me, and like you say, you try to do it. We try to do it, and we do the best job that we can, just as you do the best job that you can.
And is badgering the witness. He's asked the question, she's answered it.
Chairman, I don't think I'm badgering the witness. In fact, I said I can identify with the witness because I've had the same feelings so people questioning me.
Mr. Chairman, please. The gentleman is out of order.
I don't think Ms. Waters has anything to do with this line of questioning, Mr. Chairman.
I most certainly do. I have to
apparently looks upon herself as the defender of the White House. I have the right to ask questions. You had your chance. Why don't you just sit there?
You are out of order.
You are always out of order.
You are out of order. Shut up.
What was that? What was the last remark? I didn't hear. I'd like to hear it again.
Oh, yes. I find it very interesting.
I would like you to say it again.
You heard what I said.
I didn't hear it.
I said you're out of order.
Okay. I said you're always out of order. Okay.
And Ms.
I think the record will speak for itself, and I just...
Mr. King,
I would like to say,
you are out of order.
He is out of order, Mr. Chairman.
I don't think anyone needs...
Order, Mr. Chairman.
Butting in all the time. No one cares when you're...
Mr. Chairman.
Nobody cares about you.
Order, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman from New York. Without objection.
Speaker, last night the Democratic majority on the Banking Committee demonstrated conclusively to the American people how desperate they are to keep the American people from learning the truth about Whitewater. As I was pursuing a line of questioning of Maggie Williams, the First Lady's Chief of Staff, showing conclusively that either she or Roger Altman, the Deputy Secretary of the Treasury, is not telling the truth regarding White House involvement and interference in the Whitewater investigation, Chairman Gonzalez attempted to gag me, and Maxine Waters, the Congresswoman from California, interrupted me and told me to shut up. Mr. Speaker, this, even for the gentle lady from California, went to a new low. And I want her to know that so long as I'm on that committee and so long as I'm in this House, she's not going to tell me to shut up, she's not going to tell the American people to shut up, and I'm not going to stop till we get to the root of Whitewater. And Mr. Gonzalez has to realize, and Democratic members of that Whitewater committee have to realize they can no longer continue to cover up the truth from the American people. They cannot shut down elected representatives. And I would just say to Ms. Waters, Can you imagine the reaction if anyone had told her to shut up, what she would be claiming, the allegations she would be making? There's no double standard in this House. What's wrong for her?
Gentleman's time has expired.
What she did is wrong, and I am going to stay on her until it is over.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairwoman. Last evening, a member of this House, Peter King, had to be gavelled out of order at the Whitewater hearings of the Banking Committee. He had to be gavelled out of order because he badgered a woman who was a witness from the White House, Maggie Williams. I'm pleased I was able to come to her defense. Madam Chairwoman, the day is over when men can badger and intimidate women,
Madam Speaker,
marginalize them, and keep them from speaking. I am pleased I was able to come to her defense.
Madam Speaker, I demand
we are now in this House. We are members of this House. We will not allow men to intimidate us and to keep us from participating.
The gentlewoman must suspend.
Madam Chairwoman, thank you again. You see a man who's attempting to shut up a woman.
California is out of order.
You must suspend, gentlewoman.
Madam Chair Lady, do you ever see men?
Madam Speaker, I demand the Sergeant-at-Arms bring the gentlewoman to her feet.
Do you ever see men do this to other men?
I demand the gentlewoman comply with the rules of this House.
It is only when a woman attempts to speak.
The gentlewoman from California, you must suspend.
It is only when a woman attempts to exercise her rights in this House.
Madam Speaker, I demand the
do not have this kind of intimidation.
You must suspend, gentlewoman from California.
This is a fine example of what they tried to do to us. I am pleased,
Madam Speaker, I move this House to now adjourn.
That I was able to come to Maggie Williams' defense.
I want to define what you mean by collusion, because what you're talking about seems more circumstantial to me. Bank records, perhaps contacts that were of a nebulous nature. Who knows why Flynn was talking to the Russian ambassador? It could have been, it seems to have been about sanctions. Collusion to me is very specific. It means that the Russian government or actors within were trying to elect Donald Trump. But I want to know what collusion means to you, because that seems to be the standard by which you're saying he should be impeached.
Yes, absolutely. I am talking about strategies that were developed working with the Trump campaign. I really do believe that much of what you saw coming out of Trump's mouth was a play from Putin's playbook. I think that when you saw him absolutely calling Hillary crooked, the lock her up, all of that was developed. I think that was developed strategically with people from the Kremlin, with Putin, and I think it's more than bank records. I think that you can see that visits, to Moscow were made during the campaign by Manafort and others. I think it's a lot more absolute.
So you think the Russian government developed the talking points for the Trump campaign?
I think that there was a cooperation in developing strategy about how they could ensure that Hillary Clinton was not elected. They need Trump. Trump will be there to support lifting those sanctions. That's what they really want to happen. They want to drill in the Arctic. Tillerson has negotiated a multi-billion-dollar deal with Exxon to do that drilling. They can't get the equipment, the supplies, and all that they need until the sanctions are lifted. They want Trump. Not only will he support lifting those sanctions, he also will turn a blind eye to the expansion that Putin is trying to do. He does not care about them having invaded Crimea, and he does not whether or not this egotistical maniac Putin is attempting to reunite the whole Soviet
I know we need to go soon, but just to be clear, there has been no actual evidence yet.
No, it has not been.
Okay. I just want
no, it has not. And I want you to know, every time I've talked about impeachment, I've said we've got to connect the dots, we've got to get the facts, we've got to do the investigation. That is what leads to impeachment. And I also said that Trump will lead us right there. Over the last year, and due to the focus of House Republicans on so-called Muslim radicalization, we have seen politicians and pundits attacking the Islamic faith as a security threat to the United States. Across the country, these people are exploiting fear and trying to convince state legislatures that the steady adoption of Sharia tenets is a strategy extremists are using to transform the United States into an Islamic country. The scare tactics are working in at least 13 states where lawmakers are now considering the adoption of legislation forbidding Sharia. A bill in the Tennessee State Senate, for example, would make adherence to Sharia punishable by 15 years in jail. And one of the nation's Republican presidential candidates, Newt Gingrich, has called for a federal law that says Sharia law cannot be recognized by any court in the United States. Now, those of you who know me know that I call names, and I tell it like it is, and so I want you to know who these people are. In addition to the state attacks, the chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee, Congressman Peter King, has vowed to continue his controversial radicalization hearings, specifically focusing on Muslim Americans. While it is a challenge for lawmakers to strike the right balance in protecting both liberty and security, Chairman King's and other Republicans' disrespectful approach to thwarting extremism is contrary to American values and actually threatens national security.
Back in the book segment tonight, Waters' World. As you may know, Congressman Maxine Waters from California has been an outspoken critic of Fox News and the Tea Party, saying members of the Tea Party should go to hell or something. For years, we've been trying to get Ms. Waters on the program, unsuccessfully. So, having nowhere else to turn, we summoned Jesse Waters from the bullpen, and so it is, Waters versus Waters.
Hey, Congresswoman. Hi, Jesse Waters with Fox News.
Do you know who I am?
Now, you said that Fox News chokes us and lies to us.
Are you going to say to Fox News, when they try and choke us, lie on us, undermine us, and destroy us, we're going to turn the television off on you?
Who's us and what are the lies?
Tell me the truth.
Congresswoman, you said that Fox News lies. Could you name a lie?
What is she doing? I never know what she's doing.
Congresswoman, you said you weren't afraid of anybody. You're not afraid of me, are you? You also said that the Tea Party should go straight to hell. You don't really believe that, do you?
Speak! Speak! Why don't you speak?
That's not very nice rhetoric.
Go suck your head.
Can you tell us anything about the discussion in the group?
No, it's classified and we can't tell you anything. All I can tell you is the FBI director has no credibility.
That was Congresswoman Maxine Waters criticizing now former FBI Director James Comey after a closed briefing on Russia's interference in the U.S. election. It took place just 1 week before the president took office here at the White House. For more, I want to bring in the Congresswoman herself, Maxine Waters, who is joining me now. Congresswoman, we appreciate your time. You obviously have been very critical of James Comey in the past. You said that he had no credibility. I assume that you support the president's decision then to fire his FBI director.
No, I do not necessarily support the president's decision. If the president had not gone all over the country praising him about the way he handled Hillary and the emails, if the president had not said he had confidence in him, if the president had not said he was a part of his team.
But Congresswoman, yes. I understand that in the past he was praising him, but if you said that FBI Director James Comey had no credibility, wouldn't you support the fact that the president, then candidate Trump, now President Trump, made the decision to get rid of him?
No, not necessarily. And let me tell you why. You have an investigation going on where the president is implicated. And this is a serious investigation. I've been trying to get people to focus on this connection with the Kremlin and with Putin. I have a resolution that I introduced in February. I think there's enough there that we know about the Kremlin and about Putin to be concerned about whether or not there was collusion.
So to be clear, you think,
I believe that they should have to connect the dots and get the facts, because I think it will lead to the impeachment of this president.
So, Congresswoman, respecting that, to be clear, you believe it would have been better to keep in place an FBI director who you said had no credibility to oversee this investigation than to find someone who you think would be a better choice?
No, but I believe the president thought that. Don't forget, you're talking about what some Democrats said, what I said, but don't forget, he was the president. The president supported him. He had confidence in him. It was within his power. And
but you said he had no credibility, so it would seem to make sense that he should get rid of him.
No. Under investigation, this president basically has interfered with an investigation where he may be implicated. That's outrageous, and that's why we're having so much of a conversation about it today. Everybody is talking about it because this is highly unusual.
The bottom line is that you think an FBI director without credibility would have been best served in this position to try to pursue this investigation.
I think